Welcome back to another Saturday morning coffee episode. I'm your host, Michael, and I hope you had a fantastic week. It is the end of the year, which means everyone is putting out all of their end of the year wrap-ups and predictions for 2025, all this good stuff. But I wanted to look back at New York Times does this prediction of how, food and stuff will change. Food and tastes will change over the year. And their predictions for 2024, they had 9 predictions. But snack hype. They thought that snacks would be all the rage. I'm not sure if that one turned out true. Also, as I read through these, you'll realize that a lot of these are really kind of just for pretentious, snooty, upscale restaurants. And I don't think these are food predictions for the masses. Number 2 was that water will be bigger than ever. I can't say that I don't feel like water I just don't feel like water was this big craze. Buckwheat will be big. I can't say I saw even one single recipe on my TikTok, and I am heavily into food TikTok that uses buckwheat. Maybe it's just not that kind of food TikTok. There will be a rise of meal-flavored cocktails. And see, this is the one where I'm like, oh, this is for bougie-ass places that I do not go into. Meal-flavored cocktails. I like being adventurous. I like trying the weirdest thing on the menu. But if I saw a mashed potato-flavored cocktail, I would get up and leave. Ingredient descriptions will become more transparent and detailed. I wish this was the case. Far as I know, here in the U.S., no action was taken to force that, so I don't know where they got that. There's going to be a wider variety of spicy flavors, like, I assume they mean like salsas and stuff. And if that's the case, I would say yes. I think TikTok has opened up a lot of people's views and eyes to a wider variety of salsas with different ingredients, and so I think that was an accurate one. AI will affect food conversations, and this is 100% an accurate prediction because, my God, I saw this. I saw a lot of terrible AI rendered fake food on like Facebook and stuff. Just like clearly, like this was not an actual picture of someone's food. They just got a really good AI and told it, what kind of food to make, and that's what it was, and it looked awful. And then the recipes are even weirder. Like it's ingredients that clearly would not work together and processes that don't make sense. And so there are a lot of really low effort AI recipes that were then obviously not tested and someone just threw out to try and gain like a following on social media by having, a bunch of food content. The flavor of wildflowers will dominate. I'm not sure if it dominated, but I did see a lot of like I would say wildflower flavored stuff. Maybe more like incenses and candles. I feel like those were better. And then blossom. Okay, let me hear what you guys think on this one. And the last one, of course, is soup will be the dish of the year. If you go to pretentious, snooty restaurants, were these accurate? Did they make sense? I would love to know, because here in my little corner of the nation, of the world, no. The only one that makes sense is AI fucking up all the good food. Okay, the other thing that I had to share was the Spotify wrap up. There's a few wrap ups, I guess, that I was going to mention. Xbox, I got my wrap up from them. It's kind of like Spotify, but I'm going to save that for a later date because I'm still working on some community challenges and stuff, and so those stats I think are going to change in the next few days. And then Oxford's word of the year is brain rot, and I have a whole episode coming out on that on this Wednesday. So I just wanted to mention it. But then Spotify Wrap, which I think I need to talk about, because once again, since every year that this has come out, I have disputed Spotify Wrapped. I have a hard time believing that these are accurate stats, or that like what they say I listen to the most is actually what I listen to the most. So this year, their claims are that I listened to 67,958 minutes of audio, and that comes out to be 1,132 hours, 0.63, divided by another 24. That's 47, just over 47 straight days of listening to music. Jesus, what is that? What is that as a 365? That doesn't seem like that much. Okay, anyways, and then the most I did was 693 minutes in a single day. And that's about 11 and a half hours. So, oof. That's a lot. I wonder what I was doing that day. Let's just say 12 hours. 12 hours of straight music. I don't know. But I listened to 3,599 different songs. My top song was Happier Alone by Austin Mead, which apparently I listened to 18 times, putting me in the top 0.05% of listeners. I love that song, and Austin Mead is great, and Happier Alone is great too. But I think what my issue actually is that I feel like I listen to another song more than 18 times. I don't know what song. I don't know. But the full list of my top songs are Happier Alone, Love Like You. Who's Love Like? Oh, Love Like, that's right. Love Like You is a show from Steven, or a song from Steven Universe, the cartoon. Third was Faded by Zoo. And that one is definitely because that is my alarm song. My alarm automatically plays Spotify music to wake me up, and Faded is that song that it starts. Then there's Godman Blues by Colton Moore and the Clever Few. And then my fifth song is This Damn Song by Picos and by the Rooftops, or Picos and the Rooftops. And then when it comes to podcasts, 32,494 minutes of podcasts, which is nuts. My top 5 absolutely makes sense. In first place is Avatar, the watch along show or watch along podcast with the actors. And yeah, that one makes sense to me because in this year, I caught up on 3 or 4 years of episodes. So that, because I wanted to be done and caught up by the time they started the Korra recap. So and that's done. But so that'll probably drop off my top 5 next year. Number 2 is Morning Somewhere, a morning podcast, Monday through Friday. Great show. Number 3 is NADPOD, a real play D&D podcast. Number 4 is Stuff to Blow Your Mind. I definitely got really heavy into their backlog this year, so that makes sense. And number 5 is the Regulation Podcast. That is the second podcast on this list that is made by Rooster Teeth alumni. So all of these are fantastic shows, and all of them are so high on my recommendation list to everyone. The phases this year were so weird, and I have to think, like, they were clearly AI generated. There is no way in hell somebody came up with some of these titles. My titles sound like they were probably made up by someone. Viking Fantasy Power Metal, Nerdy Instrumental Soundtrack. Those make sense. But there are ones like Pink Princess Pop Strut, something like that. And I'm like, no. That's definitely AI generated. Come up with a name that puts these songs in a category. Which was, after this year and after Spotify's bad publicity, I would think that they would stay far away from AI. It's just a bad idea. People for the most part, do not react well to AI, especially if you're using an AI product after laying off so many people. So it just seems weird. That was the only part that struck me as AI generated. So I hope that the whole thing isn't actually AI generated, because those things are often prone to hallucinating. And and an AI that hallucinates is an AI that gives wrong answers. Yeah. And then, okay, back to stats. 2,267 different artists, which is actually a little bit more than I thought. I feel like that might be a personal record for me. And the last thing about Spotify Wrapped is that I got made fun of a little bit for my top artist. My top artist with an 8-day streak was Steven Universe. And I think that's just a little bit insane. Because I know that after I watched the Steven Universe show, and then I was obsessed with the soundtrack, and I definitely listened to it a lot, but that was just like, kind of a short phase, but I didn't think I'd listened to it enough for that, to have taken over. I will say that if it counted YouTube music, this list would definitely look very different. And so they said that I listened to 735 minutes alone of Steven Universe, which seems really low. What is that? 735 divided by... It's like 12 hours. That seems low, to be honest, though. And then the next 4 artists on my Spotify Wrapped, is the top 5 artists were all like lo-fi people. So, which also doesn't make sense. Like I feel like grunge, anti-capitalist country music would have been on there, or like oh god, I don't know. I feel like there would have been other options on there. It's weird because how much my taste of music has changed so quickly. I think for 5 years in a row, I had the song Never as my number 1 song of the year. That's by JID or JID. And he was my top artist for those 5 years too. And then rapidly changed when I moved to Texas, obviously surrounded by the country music and grunge music that I was. And it became that. And then now this year, it's a goddamn cartoon soundtrack with lo-fi beats. So that's just, it's just weird to me. Anywho, moving on from the wrap ups, the other thing that I wanted to bring up today was, TikTok. The courts in the US have reconfirmed that the ban on TikTok will go through. And that is supposed to take effect January 19th. Now, it could go up to the Supreme Court, but it's the Supreme Court's choice whether or not to hear the case. If they hear it, that doesn't even automatically mean that the ban will be paused. They could say, like, we'll hear it, but the ban stays in place. So TikTok's future in the US is very, very uncertain. And we've got two of the 3 forms of government upholding this ban: the legislative and the judicial. Oddly enough, I didn't realize that Trump had reversed his argument on wanting to ban TikTok. He wanted to get rid of TikTok, and now he's saying his administration is pledged to fighting the ban of it because he hates Facebook more, and he wants TikTok so that Facebook has competition. Because he thinks it's a anti-Republican hellscape. And in all reality, I don't understand how you can be so disconnected. Facebook is purely pro-Republican. So it's weird, but whatever. If he wants to keep TikTok around and fight for it, great. But my problem is, if it does get banned on the 19th, I have over 3,600 saved TikTok videos or bookmarked ones. And about last week, I started going through those, and I was trying to scroll through them and quickly writing down, like, I've got years of saved shit, from recipes, to content ideas, drawn from like other people's like conversations and stuff, to world building advice, and the list goes on. But plus 3,600. And so for the last 2 weeks, I have been trying to get through these. And at this point, after about 2 weeks of making this an effort, we are at 3,114 more videos to go through. There is a 0% chance that I fully clear out this list and save everything I've been meaning to save for years now, because it's like 4 years of saved shit. It is going to take way too long to actually get through here. My only saving grace, I think, is that after I get about 2 years back, I guarantee almost everything is like going to be deleted, whether it's because people's accounts got deleted or that particular video was deleted. So that might be my saving grace, is that half the stuff is actually already deleted. But TikTok frustratingly does not remove a bookmarked video after it's been deleted. It just stays in your bookmarks and says this content isn't available, which is just so dumb. Just remove it from my bookmarks. Anyways, it is a sad day that TikTok will be getting banned, because the conspiracy theorists say it's all just to prevent us from having the news or whatever, and then other people say, oh no, it's a security threat, yada yada. At the end of the day, the most data it's getting from me is that I like to cook, I like anime, and yeah, that's really about all they're getting away from my data. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I guess that brings us into where we're at today. And I thought, what better way to leave us off, since Steven Universe is the #1 artist in my Spotify Wrapped, I would recommend a Steven Universe song for you. It is one of my absolute favorites. It's also the #1 song from Steven Universe, but it's Love Like You. It's got 267 million downloads on Spotify, so highly recommend it. I actually recommend almost pretty much every song from the Steven Universe catalog. They did an amazing job with the music, and it's just it's all really heartfelt. So recommend all of the soundtracks from the movie, from the TV show, both TV shows. That's it. I'm leaving it off. I hope you enjoyed your cup of coffee. Thanks for joining me.